Hi, I'm Jeff Baker from the Oregonian, and this is Marc Mohan. We're back with reviews of some new movies this week, starting with Cinderella, the latest from Disney, a remake of the Disney classic. Marc, you saw it. What did you think?
Yeah, I saw it, and it's a very, in fact, straightforward telling of Cinderella, which is a little surprising these days. It seems like every fairy tale we get is sort of fractured in some way, or Maleficent, which sort of flipped the script on the villain versus the hero. And it almost seems like it would be refreshing to have such a straightforward kind of old-fashioned telling, but in fact it ended up kind of bland and boring, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe we're just spoiled by all these fancy new versions. The performances are fine. It's directed by Kenneth Branagh, which is surprising and a little weird. And Helena Bonham Carter shows up as the fairy godmother, looking very CGI'd and strange. But there's not a whole lot to recommend it, I don't think, unless you're with someone who's never seen or heard the story of Cinderella before, in which case I'm sure it'll be quite enchanting.
Well, that's your opinion. What if you're a 10-year-old girl? How would you feel about Cinderella?
I think if you're a 10-year-old girl, you've probably already seen enough versions of Cinderella. If you're maybe a 6-year-old girl, or boy, frankly, this might be, like I say, quite enjoyable, because it might be, as I think I said in my review, it could make a nice starter Cinderella for someone. But it doesn't really bring anything new to the story, intentionally so, and that kind of bored me.
So classic Disney, but not, I mean, you saw Maleficent last year.
Yeah.
Would you put Maleficent above it as a, more
I
interesting
would.
tale?
Yeah, I enjoyed Maleficent much more than I thought I would. I thought there was a lot going on there that was a lot more complicated than just flipping it around and telling the story from a different perspective. And I don't think, I think there's room for a back-to-basics telling of a fairy tale. I think that's a fine project to do. I just didn't think that there was anything distinctive about the storytelling or the style of it at all to really bring it to life.
Well, and on a completely different note, I saw the latest Liam Neeson shoot-'em-up called Run All Night. It is a story about, stop me if you've heard this before, a desolate hitman who comes to his senses when his family is endangered. In this case, Neeson plays a Irish drunk, redundancy noted, who he's beholden to this crime boss played by Ed Harris, but through a series of calamities, Neeson's son is put in danger. Neeson immediately goes from staggering bad Santa at a Christmas party to lean, mean, killing machine. This movie, the third collaboration between Neeson and the director, call it Sarah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name. I thought it really benefited from a fresh take on New York, especially a lot of night cinematography that's beautiful, and really the lead performances by Neeson and Harris. These old pros can still get the job done. So if you're looking for a action thriller that delivers the goods in a predictable yet, high body count, satisfying way, this is the weekend movie for you. So absolutely no overlap between Cinderella and Run All Night.
Except that it strikes me, listening to you, that they're both sort of these very basic versions of these very familiar stories that we've seen over and over again, and it depends on on the charisma of the stars and that sort of thing to bring it to life.
Sure, and I think one thing's for sure, it's like, if you went to either of these movies and found yourself in the wrong theater, you would know immediately. Other than that, there's a documentary, The Wrecking Crew, about a group of LA session musicians from the 60s and 70s. We both saw it, thought the movie itself was a little muddled, but the source material is so compelling, fascinating, and these songs are amazing. I would recommend it just on that.
Yeah, it's in the vein of sort of 20 Feet from Stardom, in the sense of shining a light on these people who sort of got lost in the shuffle of pop music, but it's not quite as compelling or good as that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks. Check back next week. We'll have some more snappy reviews, and maybe Liam Neeson will be in another thriller by then.